Hey guys, Ms. Brown here. So we are going to have our first lab this week, and our lab is going to be pancakes. Your recipe is up on Canvas. It says apple pancakes. It's not apple flavored pancakes, it's just pancakes with applesauce in it. But I want to go over some of the tools that you're going to need to get started, and this is also going to count as like a little review here. So our first tool is going to be our rubber spatula, because you're going to need that to scrape your bowl. Our second tool is going to be the turner, not the spatula. Now you might want to call it that. We also have our whisk, which we're going to use that to mix. We have our spatula here for our leveling off when we measure. And then we have our measuring tools. We have our dry measuring cup, our liquid measuring cup, and our measuring spoons. All right, so let's get started here. So I have our recipe. It's over here on my laptop. And you also need 2 bowls. And I can hear my kids in the background. You're going to need 2 bowls, 2 mixing bowls, one for your liquid ingredients and one for your dry ingredients. All right, so I'm going to bring my one bowl over here so I can get started with my dry ingredients. So our first ingredient is going to be 1 cup of all-purpose flour. So since it's flour, I know it's a dry ingredient. I need my dry measuring cup, my spoon, and I need my spatula because I want to level it off. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my flour over, and I'm going to use my spoon to spoon it in, because remember, with flour, you don't want to pack it down. You don't want to have more than what you need. All right, so we're just going to scoop it in there till I have a nice big heaping amount. I'm going to take my spatula, and then I'm going to level it off. All right, so I've got my flour, and then I need my baking powder. So here's my baking powder, and what baking powder is going to do is that is going to allow my pancakes to rise once they get heated. So my recipe says I need 1 tablespoon. So looking at my measuring spoons here, tablespoon's always going to be the largest spoon, but also if you look at it, you'll know because it says TBSP, and that's the abbreviation for tablespoon. So you can come on over here a little bit, Regina. My friend Regina is recording for us, so you guys are in luck. All right, so when you measure out baking powder, it has a little level on here, so you don't have to worry about using your spatula. So you can just scoop out what you need, and then as you scoop it out, I should probably do it over the bowl. You're going to level it off. So I have my nice leveled spoon, tablespoon amount of baking powder. I'm gonna put that over to the side. And then I need salt. So my salt it's right here. And I already feel like I'm in class doing this because I'm going back and forth and back and forth. All right, salt, half a teaspoon. I know it's a teaspoon because I see the abbreviations of TSP. So I'm gonna scoop it on in here. And I'm just gonna give it a little shake. You can use your spatula to level it off, but me personally, I usually don't for this one because I can kind of just shake it out on there. So I have that, and then I need my brown sugar. So here's my brown sugar, and that one, again, that's 2 tablespoons. One thing you might notice is I'm not washing the spoons in between uses, and that's because none of the ingredients are wet, and there's nothing in here that would contaminate the other ingredients, so I'm not too worried about it here, so you don't have to worry about washing the spoons in between each one. All right, so my brown sugar, if I can get the words out. All right, so I want to get that in, I want to pack it down, and then I want to level it off. So it's 1 tablespoon, and here's my second one. Now, if you remember from the little video we watched and we were talking about it, when you measure out brown sugar, it should always keep its shape. So I'm going to show you, this is what it looks like here. It looks like my 2 spoons, and if you see that, then that's correct. All right, so here's my dry ingredients. I'm going to take my whisk, and I'm going to mix them together. When you crack your egg, most people want to kind of hit the side of the bowl. You actually don't want to do that. You want to use a nice flat surface, so you're going to want to crack it on the counter. All right, when you see the crack, use your thumbs, push in just a little bit, and then you can get your egg in. Now, with eggs, you want to be really careful. If you get any egg on you, make sure you stop what you're doing and you wash your hands because we don't want to cross contaminate. Okay? I have my egg, and then I need 3/4 of a cup of milk. So milk is a liquid ingredient. I'm going to use my liquid measuring cup, and that's one ingredient I didn't have out. Hey guys, you watch it? Okay, not yet. All right, so remember, with your liquid ingredients, you want to keep your liquid measuring cup flat down. You want to look at eye level, so you're going to bend down and you're going to pour. And I know it says 3/4, which is 3/4, okay? I'm going to stop right where I see that 3/4 line, okay? So I'm going to hold it. I'm bending down. I'm looking. I'm at the 3/4, and I know I can stop right there, okay? Okay. All right. So I'm going to add in my milk. And then I need my applesauce, okay? So applesauce, one of those like really weird ingredients that it's a wet ingredient, like it's wet to the touch, but I would not use a liquid measuring cup because it's not pourable like a liquid. So I'm going to use my dry measuring cup. And for my applesauce, I need a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to look right here in my dry measuring cup. I need a 1/4. I'm going to pour this in. Dump it in. Here's my milk, or I'm sorry, my applesauce. And then the last thing that I need is my 2 tablespoons of butter that is melted. Because it's going to, once it's melted, it becomes a liquid, and it's one of your liquid ingredients for the recipe. So depending on your microwave, will depend on how long you're going to stick it in there for. In my microwave, it gets pretty hot. I did about 30 seconds, and if I take a look at it, I could probably put it in for about another 10 more seconds or so. You want to make sure it's completely melted, otherwise you're going to have chunks of butter and you don't want that. All right, here it's popping in the microwave, which means it's probably done. Taking a look at it, here we go. All right, so my butter's in, and when you're mixing, you're going to notice it's probably going to look a little funny, and then it might start to clump up, and that's normal because the warm butter is now sitting in cold milk and cold applesauce. So the butter starts to solidify again, like it becomes solid. So if you see some chunks in here, don't worry, you're not spoiling your milk or messing up your recipe or anything like that. It's completely fine, okay? Also, if you're wondering, why did we use applesauce? We use applesauce instead of oil because it cuts down on the fat and calories in the recipe. All right, so I have my liquid ingredients right here. I have my dry ingredients. And what I want to do is I now want to combine my dry and my liquid ingredients. Does it matter if I add my dry to my liquid to my dry? No, it does not matter. So whatever you find easier, it really just depends on the mood here. So I'm just kind of sprinkling my flour mixture into my dry ingredients. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it until it's mixed together. So you can come on in a little bit. So here's the thing about pancakes. You don't want to over mix it, because if I over mix it, then my pancakes will become really tough, and you don't want that. So once you see that your ingredients are, you no longer see any powder or dry ingredients, you're good to go. You can also see brown spots, and you're probably wondering, why do you see brown spots in here? That's because I use dark brown sugar and not the light brown sugar, so that's why it looks a little bit darker. It has a different color to it. If you use light brown sugar, you won't see that. All right, so I'm good here, nice and smooth. And then what I want to do is I want to heat up my pan. Now I'm using a griddle pan here. If you have one of these, you can use this. If you don't have a griddle pan or any kind of like flat pan, you can use any skillet. All right, this is a skillet. This will work just fine because it has a nice flat surface. So you would butter it, let the butter melt. Once it melts, then you know you can add your pancakes. Also, if we were in class, I would give you the opportunity to have chocolate chips. A lot of kids like to have chocolate chip pancakes. That's up to you. If you want to add chocolate chips, that's fine. I am not, because my bag's not open and I don't want to open it. All right, so I'm going to get the butter. I'm going to get my knife and I'm going to cut the butter, and I want to grease my pan. Now this you really don't have to like measure, but you don't need to go like super crazy here. So I just added in my butter. Notice I'm not using the knife to move around the butter because I don't want to scratch my pan. So I'm going to use my turner and I'm going to move this all around here and I want to get this nice and buttery. You can use non-stick spray if you want. I prefer using butter just because I feel like it gives the pancakes a better flavor. All right. And when you are making your pancakes, you want to keep your heat on medium. If you have it on high, your pancakes could burn and the outside could cook before the inside and you don't want to have doughy pancakes. All right. So you can use your dry measuring cup to measure out your pancakes. You want to give them a nice, safe space. And just for demo purposes, I'm only going to do the one. So we're going to watch this cook. You can see the brown sugar in there. The brown sugar was like not mixing crazy well. Let me see. I was kind of hoping I could do one without it. I'll be honest. I did a couple of test batches and the brown sugar is pretty delicious. So I'm just going to do a little small one here. I'm just going to do a little small, guys. All right. Typically, I would probably do 3, but I want to see, I want to show you, you know, what they look like without it. Also, it does have a little bit of a browner tint to it because the applesauce I used was cinnamon applesauce. So we have cinnamon apple pancakes. And I have a little escapee here. Try not to be in the video, which I appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna let this run. I know my pancakes are ready to flip when I see those little bubbles. So my middle pancake, it's in the middle of the pan. It's getting the hottest. It also cooked first because I put it in there first. All right, so I'm seeing those bubbles. To me, that's a sign that the pancake is getting ready. But I don't want to flip it just yet because the edges are still a little wet. But let's say you're really curious and you want to check. You can just gently take your turner and lift and take a peek under. But just looking how wet it is, I can tell they're not ready to flip. Same thing with my little guys. If I were to flip it now, it would have that really white look to it, and you don't want to have that look with your pancakes. All right, so we're waiting and we're waiting, and then we can probably okay, let's take a look. All right, looks good. Ready? So I'm going to get under, and I'm going to flip it. Okay, so I'm going to get under. That little guy got away from me. Get under, flip him. Oh, little guys are getting away from me. Whoop, whoop. There we go. Okay. All right, so see how it's rising? All right, that's my baking powder going to work and doing its thing. Okay, so I'm going to get a plate. And you only want this to cook for about a minute or two. We don't want to burn it. Most of it is cooked already, so we're really just kind of browning the other side. And you can see my little dab of brown sugar in there. That was not intentional. It's just one of those things that happen. All right, so my pancake looks really good. I'm going to flip it. Pancake looks good. I'm going to turn off my heat. And this little guy, I'm going to turn him over one more time. I feel like they're getting away from me. All right. I'm going to give them about 30 seconds on there just to kind of change their color. But they're going to be good too. So let me collect him. Collect this little bad boy right here. He doesn't want to get on my turner. And then here we go. So you can top off your pancakes with powdered sugar. You can top it off with syrup, Nutella, whatever you want. But I'm looking forward to seeing your videos this week of your pancakes. All right. Have a good one.